So we're here again at the 2014 National Fieldays, and with me is QUIN. Now, Quentin is the General Manager for Trade and Enterprise, New Zealand Trade and Enterprise Capital Team. Welcome along, Quentin.
Thanks, Tony. Good morning.
Now, you've had a fairly busy time, and can you tell us a little bit about last night? You've had some investors there talking to some people that want to raise a bit of capital. Can you explain that a bit better?
Yeah, so one of the real key functions and priorities for the capital division is to build the investor capability and capital capacity for New Zealand emerging businesses. And in conjunction with KPMG and ASB, we ran a first ever Agri-investor showcase. And so we worked with about 15 innovative Agri-tech companies right across New Zealand and selected 7 of the highest performing ones and ran a sort of pitch session, capital raising session last night, and that was supported by our commercial stakeholders, KPMG and ASB, and very successful outcome. Just out of Hamilton at Bridget and Lance O'Sullivan's property called the Red Barn, and we hosted about 65 investors, 20 corporate related industry players, and a total of about 100 plus people attending, so along with our New Zealand Trade Enterprise Board.
Yeah. Now, were the investors international?
A mixture of international and domestic, a mixture of sort of high net worth private investors, fund managers, and corporate investors.
Okay, so you've been working with these guys, you've got it down to 7, and you've been working closely with these guys right through to working on their presentations, or?
Yeah, so we work right across the business model and the strategy of where those businesses want to go. So there are a myriad of business in terms of where they are in the business cycle. So some of the sort of early stage startups, some are post revenue, right to a product launched by QUIN Capital, which is part owned by My Farm, where they're a substantial farm syndication business venturing into the rural financial services space, trying to raise capital for the transition of dairy farmers or young farmers who haven't quite got the equity. So there's sort of quite a broad spectrum in terms of offering, but a big part of it was around innovation and technology in the agri space.
Yeah. So what sort of thing are these investors really looking for at the moment, do you think? Technology?
Yeah, look, I think it's something I've really noticed over the last sort of 24 months is that the transition of data, the use of data on farm to make key decisions and key decisions that require capital. So I think the innovation and technology, firms that are developing information and data flow to allow those decisions to be made, investors are really, really keen. And then if you look at an internationalisation program where sort of our view at New Zealand Trade Enterprise is how do we support companies growing bigger, better and faster internationally? And so rather than just take white gold overseas, how do we deploy sort of our design, technology and innovation? How do we export those services? And so businesses that have got that capacity and scalability are really important to New Zealand's economy going forward.
Yeah. So you linked these guys together. How did they get on last night? Was it a Dragon's Den situation or not? We
didn't want it to be quite a Dragon's Den situation. It needed to be a sort of a positive, encouraging environment. But we had a panel of well-regarded investors. So we had Ross George from Direct Capital, Neil Craig from Craig Investment Partners, Steve Saunders from Grow Plus, and Colin Harvey, all proven investors, all mentors to New Zealand businesses currently. And so they provided sort of an investment angle perspective and challenged the presenters and the entrepreneurs and the business owners around stress testing some of their assumptions. And so I guess the idea behind that was they're people that have invested in themselves, they're people of credibility, and they were there to be the voice of reason that otherwise the audience, the investors in the audience would want to ask those questions. And that was kindly facilitated by Nick Farr-Jones, the ex-Wallaby halfback, who runs a fund, Taurus Capital. So we had a really good blend of sort of offshore, onshore, and a global perspective about what investors want in the agri-tech space.
So Quentin, the investor showcase, that was your initiative, and so where did that start in your mind to get these guys all together?
Yeah, well, we launched a program called Better by Capital in July 4 last year, and that was about sort of helping New Zealand businesses build their investor capability and capital capability, as I mentioned. And I was fortunate enough to attend the St. Louis Agri-Investor Show last year in the US, and it sort of got me thinking a little bit about how can we be really focused and targeted around helping a certain sector within New Zealand that I think's pretty special and is sustainable and can really sort of carry the New Zealand brand internationally. And so we sort of thought, well, how about we work in the agri-tech innovation space? How about we be very targeted and focused and work with companies that with the benefit of capital, could really build the trajectory of their growth internationally. And so we sort of came up with this initiative, this idea, and we've got a fantastic group of people within NZTE that sort of got around it and committed to it, and that's where it started.
Do you go around sort of scouting, so to speak, like at the field days?
Yeah, we have about 4,000 customers in our portfolio, of which 500, and we're going to build that through to 700, which is our focus 700, that we work intensively with. And so we first start with our own portfolio of clients in the particular sector, and then outside of that we do go and look for new opportunities where we can sort of bring some of those new companies, emerging companies, into the portfolio. So we're quite targeted, very focused, with a view of really making a difference.
Now we have a video called Created here in New Zealand, and we have a lot of amazing innovations made right here in New Zealand.
It never fails to amaze me that New Zealand as an economy and as a population, we're a long way from our markets, we're a long way from our trade partners, but the passion, the tenacity, the commitment, the desire, and the real heart from emerging entrepreneurs, New Zealand businesses, and around introducing new ideas, new technologies, new innovation, and taking that globally is quite outstanding. So, look, I just think it's the potential is sort of unlimited, and I think we're just getting stronger and stronger as an economy and as a population around design innovation, and particularly in the agri-tech space, it's particularly popular.
Walking around here blows you away.
Oh, it's
an
impressive environment outside the weather, but it's an impressive environment. It's very positive. I've got a really good, strong feel about the economy, and I've got a really good, strong feel about how we're positioned globally.
Now, you've been in the game for quite a while now in this line of business. A good success story that comes to mind?
Yeah, I think there's many, and again, as I say, we worked with 15 companies. We showcased 7 last night. All 15 of them are very good. 7 of them are particularly special. But I think one of the presenters last night, I thought, is hitting a market that needs sort of attention, and that is, the retention of ownership of our farms in New Zealand. And one of the real challenges is the capital capability of younger farmers retaining or getting into farms. And so the launch of a QUIN Capital's product, which is sort of a QUIN Capital, which is a new form of debt funding for young emerging farmers. But it's not for every farmer, it's for farmers that don't quite have the level of equity required to get into a farm now, but farmers who really want to invest in innovation and productivity. And it's for particular platforms that really have got that productivity growth upside. And so I think, as that gets launched, as the market becomes more comfortable with that, that is a real opportunity for New Zealand farmers to sort of retain ownership of New Zealand farms. And let's face it, the current farming population is not getting younger. I think the average age is about 63, and so succession planning and transition is really important. So I think this particular innovative financial instrument provides an option for people to at least build your own equity and acquire farms.
So a lot of people, young people, get to you through the website and things like that for trade and enterprise. Do they get the word out there, all right? Yeah.
So we've got two parts of our business. One's the trade side, where we try and take a product design and innovation globally, help businesses go into new markets. And then on the capital side, which I'm involved with, is about how do we deploy capital in the right place to help these companies grow. So we've got a staffing base globally of about 550 people, of which approximately 45 of those are devoted to capital, spread across 5 international regions. And then we've got a real select few of about 10 capital specialists onshore here in New Zealand, that are deployed right across New Zealand to work with companies to get them investor ready or to build the capability. We work strongly across the financial market space. We work with all the major banks around introducing companies that might need sort of their services and product. So we're ready and available. Website, our I-800 number obviously, and we're an agile bunch of people, so we're ready to go and see our customer and try and help our customers' needs.
Thank you very much, Quentin.
No, I really appreciate it, Tony. Thanks very much.
Cheers, mate.
Okay.